Hello, HP Touchpad users. This is Reverend Kyle with a late-breaking video tutorial. Apparently, somebody has released a self-contained Android build for the HP Touchpad, and this kind of came out of the woodwork here, out of the clear blue. This is an independent build. It has nothing to do with any of the other builds that are going on by Cyanogen or the Touch Droid. It may be related to the Touch Droid just based on the way it looks, but here I am with my touchpad, and I'm going to show you how this works, how to install it, the functionality that it has and doesn't have, and we'll go over this piece by piece and give you something to play with here while we anxiously await the Cyanogen release. So what I have here is, as it stands right now, I've already installed it on mine, and then I've taken it off, and I'm going to put it back on to show you how this works. I'm already assuming that you have your touchpad in developer mode, and I'm assuming that you have freeware installed already. If you don't, I would recommend doing that first, or none of this is going to be able to work for you. So let's just get started here. I have already downloaded the file, and there will be a link to this particular file. It's an IPK file. It's about 81 megabytes. I'll have a link in the description of my video, and it'll also, there is a link to it and a forum started on tabletsupportforum.com, so you can go there as well. So basically what I'm going to do here is go into my apps menu, and you'll see why I'm in portrait mode here in a moment. I'm going to use the program called Internals Pro, and that can be found from Preware. And I'm going to go look for a directory that I have here called Files, where I have downloaded the IPK file. Now you'll see it's 80.9 megabytes, and I'm just going to click on it and do Open, at which point Preware will come up and give you the option to install. And I'm going to install it. Now, this installation doesn't go very quickly. It does take its merry time, and you may even think that it is stalled. It does take a little bit, so have some patience. Now, while we're waiting for this to install, I will tell you a few things here about this build. Basically, the way this is working is it seems to be giving the WebOS an ability of flipping around the kernel, and I don't know all the specifics behind it, but basically this is an image file, an IMG image file, approximately 160 megabytes in size, which contains all of the systems and the vitals that are needed to load Android up on your system. This appears to be very non-invasive, so there's absolutely no reason that I can see, this is my opinion, that would prevent you from at least playing around with this. It also creates a directory inside your file structure called APKs. Now, in case you don't know, I can't imagine why you wouldn't, APKs are Android packages, your apps for the Android, such as IPK is for the WebOS. After the system is installed and booted up, you're basically left with about 11 megabytes worth of room that you can put some APK files. Now, I have tried running the gamut in terms of APKs to see what I can get to load, and so far that 11 megabytes doesn't give you much to play with. I've also noticed that you almost want to install this and then go and add the apps into the APK directory before you boot it up, just to give the system the ability to install them correctly. On my first go with this, I installed the system, went into Android, played around with it, and then went into the APK directory in WebOS, put in some apps, went back into it, and it gave me force closes all over the place. So I don't know if you would want to possibly add the APKs before you boot up Android for the first time. Now, once this is done installing, don't be freaked out by the fact that it's going to reboot. It will just magically reboot your touchpad. Now, this is what leads me to believe that it's adding a little something extra to the WebOS system to allow this to actually execute. Like I said before, though, it seems to be very non-invasive. I don't see really any reason why anybody would be hesitant to play around with this. It gives us something to fiddle around with while we're waiting for the CyanogenMod release. The interesting thing about this build is that it's executed from within WebOS, and it runs in a card, just like your Ubuntu or Debian or whatever it is you're running within it. If you've taken that approach, it does not allow you to close the card. Somebody had mentioned a swipe up or a side swipe or something of that nature. That doesn't actually do anything. Package installed. Okay. So once I press OK, it shuts down and reboots, which is normal. Don't fret about that at all. Okay, we're rebooted now, and we're back into our WebOS, and I'm going to just go straight from here into my applications, and there it is down at the bottom. It's Troid, or Croid, depending on if it's a soft or hard CH sound. From here, all you do, well, and before we do this, I'm actually going to jump back into internals and show you what it's done here. Let me turn it back up. Just temporarily here. I'm going to show you that there is now an APKs folder, and there's also a system image. Now that system image is the magic file that is basically what this is going to do is it's going to just loop mount this image file, and that's how Android boots up. When you go to uninstall this, it just deletes that system image file and then reboots and takes out whatever other magic that it puts in. Now here's my APK directory, and I'm just going to go in there and show you what I've put in there a while. I put Root Explorer in, and we'll get into that in a moment here. I also put Quadrant and Android information. Android information is available for free off of the market, and it's something that I have found to be valuable in terms of telling me what I got. So it made logical sense to put it on here for this purpose. So let's go back into okay, let's go back in. Let's get rid of this bad boy and go to our apps. Another thing is, it takes a minute to load. You'll see the very familiar Android and then the login screen. And there we have it. For those of you who don't speak Chinese, the first thing I'm going to show you is how to eliminate the Chinese. Now again, here's your load. A little side note, up in the upper left hand corner, I have noticed some graphic anomalies. Now it seems almost as if the WebOS is leaking through the Android card. That's just my best assessment of it. I'm going to go in, and here's your settings. And clicking on settings gives you, well, the Android menu, which is difficult to read again if you don't speak Chinese. And let me adjust this here. Okay, the box that has an A, is language and whatnot, keyboard, and the very top one will give you a list of your items. And well, I'm going to go into the US, and the back button is the volume up, and volume down is the menu button. And then the home key is conveniently the home key. So now we have the items that I have pre-installed here, putting them into my APK directory: Android System Info, Quadrant Advanced, and Root Explorer. Now, just for proof of concept, I've already done this. Root Explorer does not find root, so this is not rooted. I also took the liberty of, and I even tried it twice because I know sometimes it does say that, but you can see that super user is not even loaded on here. So there's no reason to suspect that this would work. I did take the liberty of plugging this in to, and I went into system settings, and I went into applications and development, turned on USB debugging. ADB does not pick this up. As a matter of fact, it doesn't even show that a USB device is plugged in at all. So if I drag down, there's very obviously something here about a disk. It's, I believe, telling us that there is no SD card mounted. So let's go in and run, and I guess, well, while we're here, we'll just take a look real quick. Wallpapers, and just for simplicity's sake. Okay, well, that didn't do what I wanted it to do. Last time I did this, it actually worked. Ah, there we go. Okay. I'm going to go into Android System Info and share with you some of the information that I have learned about this. And let me bring this in a little tighter here. All right. So what we have, I apologize for the messiness here. Okay. Obviously, there's nothing going on battery-wise. It has no idea what we have battery-wise. It also shows internal memory of 154.94 megabytes, free of which is 6 megabytes. Now, I put APKs in, and that's what's eating those up. If you hadn't put the APKs in, that would be about 11. Maximum size 154. The system image is only 160 megabytes, so that's all you have to work with. I would imagine that somebody much smarter than I would be able to make that image bigger to accommodate more room. SD card seems to be identical to the internal memory, and then RAM 854 max with free of 620. Shows my uptime and random IP. Well, the IP address, it's actually interesting. That's my internal IP address. It does see the Wi-Fi, and let me go into the system, and we'll get back to the Wi-Fi there. It shows basic information like I would expect from a build like this. Android version, and I don't know if this is visible or not, is 3.14.159.265, which is pi to the 8th digit. I found that to be clever. This is open source project, AOSP, and the rest of this information may mean something to you, may not. It's up to you to say. Going into the memory, very similar information from what we have. Wi-Fi, it shows that it's disabled. It is pulling the Wi-Fi through from the WebOS, and I found that to be intriguing. CPU, it does show a BOGO MIPS number of 13.52. For those of you who know what that is, it shows frequency of 1.188. And that's nice. There is no camera information. There's a camera app. If you click it, it will reboot your Android. The screen resolution I found intriguing. It shows 1024 by 768, and the density is 160 dots per inch. Now, one thing that you'll notice about this build versus the TouchDroid build that we've fiddled with in the past is the color's correct, and the touch works, and everything seems to be kind of interesting. No sensors, drivers at all. In terms of environment, very similar to what I would expect. And then Java properties, small amount of information here. So we'll jump back out of this, and from here, I am going to go to a browser, and browser cannot load this page because there's no internet connection. However, I was under the impression that the Wi-Fi does work. Okay, it does. And just for proof of concept and to show you the keyboard as well, I tried earlier turning on the haptic feedback and it did not work, just FYI. And I'm just going to go to, oh, there's a go button down there. I'm just going to go to tabletsupportforum.com and just to kind of show you here that it does pull up pages that are not cached. This is a page that is loading brand new. There is no pinch or drag or anything of that nature. It does seem relatively fluid though. It does pull up as a mobile edition, another FYI there. And we'll go into the forums here. And so here we go. This is, if you haven't been to this page, I recommend going to it. There will be a forum item that will talk about this build in particular. And it's actually right here. And it seems like there has been some information added since an hour ago when I looked at it last. So that's the browser. It works. And again, it's not a lot going on here because it's still kind of a proof of concept. The developer has explained that he is going to attempt to update this and fix it up. And I think that that's brilliant. I would love to see this kind of run parallel to what we have coming in terms of CyanogenMod. Just another couple quick items here. When you go to run the benchmark in Quadrant, it pukes. This device does not support stencil buffers. That's exactly the same thing that we got when we ran it on the Touch Droid. So a little FYI there. System information shows pretty much the same stuff, again, as the Touch Droid. So I have a feeling that this is at least loosely based or using similar files. Gallery, there's nothing in here, so I guess it's not picking up anything from the WebOS. So I guess as another piece of this, there's nothing in here that's talking to the WebOS at all. Going into the About phone, just for sake, because I know people want to know this information. It's called Full Android on Emulator. Obviously, it's a mounted image, so that would make sense. Android version Pi. The kernel is 2.6.35 Palm Tenderloin. Sound familiar, hopefully, to some of you. And then the build number is kind of nondescript, in my opinion, to anything I've seen before. Maybe some of you know. I did find it interesting that the time and all of that is working correctly. It's in airplane mode, so technically I shouldn't have gotten Wi-Fi, but I did. All right, so from here, where do we go? Well, the next thing to do is and I'm going to power off the device. I've just held the power button down. It gives the option to do power off, and I'm going to do power off. And it says this will shut your phone down. This then boots you back into WebOS, and it reboots the entire device and takes you back into WebOS. Okay, so I actually lied. It doesn't actually reboot, it just turns the device off. So you will have to hit the power button to bring it back up. So from here, the next logical process would be, okay, can I remove this? And we'll go through that process now as well. So what we'll do is we'll actually, just like any other WebOS app, hold down onto the app, hit the X, and hit remove. And as you would assume, it required a reboot to install it. And once you hit the done button up here, it will again reboot the device. And that's basically it. Once I go back in, you'll notice that the APK directory stays. It does not get deleted, so any APK files that were in there will still be in there. And that's it. So basically, here's an Android that you can fiddle around with if you know what you're doing. A project that you can keep up on. Who knows what may develop from here? This may be an interesting level of competition for the CyanogenMod build, although I highly doubt it. But again, it's something to play with. So this has been Reverend Kyle, your Minister of Mobile Devices, showing you how to put Android on your HP Touchpad in a completely different way.